Dr. Song presented is about information, that what DNP as a department working on conservation is actually doing to get information from the grounds, like from the national parks, or what's like all these information, so that we can actually plan, develop programs, and also in that effort to conserve the wildlife. So as I start my presentation, I just want to give a quick few facts, which is available on the internet as well, that I don't know if everyone is aware, that 35,000 to 50,000 African elephants are poached every year. And if we calculate that, it's close to 100, like 95 to 96 elephants in average killed on a daily basis. And then 30% of the Asian elephants are in captivity. They're not in the forests. And I don't know if you know pangolins. I mean, they are one of the least known mammals, but they are the most trafficked mammals just for their scales and their meat. And I think in the last 10 years, over 1 million pangolins were trafficked. And what's scary is that these pangolins, they provide a very good service to farmers. They actually eat up ants, like pests like ants. So that's a natural way of controlling pests. But by killing them, by trafficking them, actually, we are not just affecting the people, like the farmers who are growing it, but also encouraging them in turn use of chemicals and pesticides to control that. So we see other related issues. So just quick facts, some few facts. So I'm here to talk about what we call the Wildlife Enforcement Monitoring System, or in brief, WEMS. And this is a system that was developed by the United Nations University back in 2005, trying to help countries manage information related to wildlife crimes, so that certain measures can be taken to, well, counter these criminal activities. So my presentation will touch upon briefly on what the system is about, then the key collaborators that's on board at the stage, and then the initiative as such, what it is, and then what we have done so far. This initiative is housed here in AIT, under the AIT Solutions, and it's a very new office that's created here. Saying WEMS is a information management tool, or a system which is based, like a web-based system that in a way helps track wildlife crime, or monitor the compliance to national legislations, or monitor enforcement activities. And this is a system that's actually available for the governments, and this would empower the governments actually to manage the information on their own. So what the Secretariat is doing is just promoting the system, or advancing the system, and the government will own the system, own the data, and will be able to use it as needed. And one of the things that came up in actually Robert's presentation earlier is that there are different agencies working on the same issue, but in a very least coordinated way. And that's reality in our world. And what we see is a system like this that allows an interagency exchange of information on this critical issue will get everyone onto the same page. And that will help, again, as I'll quote Robert, that putting all the parts together, which will be more than sorry, I didn't say it right, but yeah, I'm pretty much saying that. Joining hands to synergistically approach this problem. So this system, what it does is it produces several outputs. It's already designed to do this. And one of the key things is the eco-message, which is an interposed requirement for the member states to report wildlife crimes. So the system automatically generates this eco-message. And since eco-message contains lots of nominal data or sensitive data from the country, well, the system can actually send the information or the report electronically. So there are least chances of leakage. Also, the information system hosts a lot of spatial and non-spatial data, which looks at the trends, the routes, the hotspots of the wildlife crimes. Now, I'll just briefly mention, this is, the system will not just help monitor these information or manage this information, but actually help the countries in terms of streamlining the reporting process nationally and internationally against the various conventions that they have ratified or signed, and also against the international commitments like the Sustainable Development Goals. The current collaborators, we have the Asian Institute of Technology, especially AIT Solutions, that hosts the Secretariat of the WEMS Secretariat. Excuse me. And the Lusaka Agreement Task Force, which is an intergovernmental enforcement agency in Africa that has been coordinating the WEMS activities in Africa. Currently, 6 countries in Africa are using the system to share, manage information within the national boundaries and also at international level across the boundaries. And then we have the University of Twente, ESRI, who are partners in the actual development of the system, and the key developer, United Nations University, on their agreement with whom we are actually deploying this system. Now, WEMS initiated a multi-stakeholder engagement model. So what does that mean? Well, in terms of the initiative, what it's trying to do is to support countries in doing the work that the country, the governments are trying to do, that is monitor the illegal wildlife trade, curb the poaching, trafficking, and so on by proper management of the information. And then also the other aspect is capacity building, which again came in the previous presentation that Robert delivered, is capacity of the various stakeholders to address issues from their own perspective. And also a community of practice which will allow the different stakeholders to come on board, talk of the lessons learned, what has worked, what has not worked, what's the way about, what's the best way to move forward, and so on. So all these that are going to be, or that the plan is to be delivered through the initiative. Now, in terms of the governance framework, we see AIT in the center, being the Secretariat, and then will be the interface with the MEA Secretariat, with the advisory board, and with the donor community. And the system, or the initiative consists of 3 components. That's the WEMS database, which will be solely owned by the country, managed by the country, the information that the government or the country thinks relevant to be raised at regional or international level can be shared, that will be accessed by others, including the Secretariat. So what I want to emphasize here is that the information in the system is not accessible to anyone until the country or the authorities from local to the national level don't or they do not willingly share it. So here, this is solely the government task, and there is the interagency coordination that comes into play here. Then the next aspect is capacity building and community of practice. This is where we link up with different stakeholders, like in terms of the development partners, the NEA secretariats, INGOs, and NGOs who are in this area. And then this policymakers, practitioners, and civil society are the key stakeholders who are supposed to benefit out of this component. And then the research and outreach, which is, well, once we have the information, making the best use of that information to reach the right decisions. That's the key point of managing information. And that information can be utilized to actually help make the right decisions. And that's what the initiative intends to do, to support the overall stakeholders to inform of the trends, the patterns, and probably the key steps or the linkages, like what wildlife crime has with international terrorism or climate change or so on, and help make the right decisions. In terms of the information flow, how it happens in WEMS, I just wanted to give a quick snapshot, is that the information is collated from the grassroots level or the local level, like as earlier when Dr. Somying was mentioning, is collection of information from the ground or the grassroots. So here the information on the wildlife crime is collected from the grassroots, and from the local level it will be processed to the national level, and that's where it's stored. And if it is an information of international relevance, then it will be escalated or published in the system so that others can access it. And the same thing happens at national level in other countries, or at local level in other countries. So in Africa, like for example, in Tanzania, there are several enforcement agencies, like the port authorities, the wildlife service department, and also the police who are actually using the system jointly and inputting the information that can be accessed by the different agencies. Now the idea is to pretty much replicate the same framework in Asia. And that's where we are now discussing with different governments on the possibility of doing that. And one of the key governments is the government of Thailand. And then so far what we have done since the establishment last September is a few events that has happened. There was this UN Kenya conference on space technology applications for wildlife management and protecting biodiversity. And the report, which was a UN General Assembly report, highlighted WEMS as a tool, a system that can be valuable to provide information to understand the state of biodiversity and the changes that's happening. We had another event which was in Hanoi during the Illegal Wildlife Trade Conference in Hanoi. And during this event, the discussions led to the recommendations that WEMS could perhaps further enhance by integrating some new technologies or finding an interface with allowing data from new technologies like using drones or even DNA, like the forensics side of the wildlife crime, that uploading the DNA fingerprints of the different wild animals to identify them in the wildlife crime. And then the other event was the International Forum for Sustainable Future in Asia, wherein WEMS was presented, and it was well received, and actually the poster that was presented also was given the Best Poster Award. And now we have a new face for the website, thanks to my colleague Shreya, who has been actually helping do this presentation as well. Well, we have just finalized this new website, which will be updating very relevant and information on wildlife crime issues or what's happening and also specifically on WEMS findings and updates from WEMS side. So with that, I would like to end my presentation and just like to again highlight that this is a framework or a model that will allow an engagement at multi-stakeholder level with the government, with the non-governmental sector, civil society, and especially engagement with youth as well as something like this event that we are having today. So thank you very much. That's all from me.